Austin Richard here once again for another 49ers video. So, that Bears game happened, right? I did my instant reaction, all that too, right? And, went back to watch highlights of the 49ers snaps, basically, right? Both offensively and defensively, right? And I'm like, what can the 49ers hang their head on, right? What is like, hey, at least we figured this out about ourselves, right? What did they learn about themselves? That is the important thing about it, right? And what can they say? Hey, at least this happened for us, right? So let's get into that, right? Let's get into that. Most importantly for the 49ers is this, right? Trey Lance got live snaps, all right? You know why that is important for this team, mind you, right? Because this quarterback needs it, right? Trey Lance needs this, right? I don't care I don't care that Jimmy Garoppolo is the better quarterback right now. It should be a given that Jimmy Garoppolo is the best quarterback right now, because he is a veteran NFL quarterback. Trey Lance is a 22-year-old quarterback having basically his third start in Chicago with this horrible weather. Of course, it isn't going to look like a finished product, all right? But just look at this passing chart, right? Look at this. The mistakes, right? Mistakes are overthrown balls, low balls, all that type of stuff, right? But only one interception, right? And here's the thing about it. Some of these incompletions were drops, right? Due to the weather, and just because some of these wide receivers that are very talented for the 49ers, mind you, have a drop problem, right? That's just part of their game, right? They occasionally drop a ball. And I think another important part with this game for Trey Lance, right, is how much variety is in his game, right? How much he didn't just look for one target, mind you, right? I think targets went all around here. I may be posting the targets for our receivers here. So yeah, that's very important for Trey Lance's game, being a variety passer, not looking for the one guy, right? And also, I liked his running ability, right? Some people may not like it just due to the way that the field was and how hard hitting it seemed the Bears were, but the way that offensive line was playing, I do not blame them, right? I do not blame them. But I will say, the interior offensive line did their job, all right? Aaron Banks and, Brindle and, Buford did their jobs. That is important to know. But just this variety and development Trey Lance is needed. And if you are a 49er fan, right, and are not sitting there after the game going, hey, at least Trey Lance got some development today. Fan, really, are you a fan, really, right? This is supposed to be your future franchise quarterback out there, right? And you are seeing his flashes, you're seeing his struggles, you're seeing all this, right? So that once he finally does figure this entire thing out of being an NFL quarterback, you'd be like, wow, how did he went from this to this? How did he went 0 to hero? But that's it for today, right? On Trey Lance, right? Next time we're talking Trey Lance, we're talking Seattle, in which they are currently the kings of the NFC West. Oh, that is just the craziest part about the NFL, mind you. But what's next? Let's talk about this. The defensive line is as advertised. This defense is as advertised, right? Sure, penalties are... I cannot forgive these penalties that this team got, right? 100 yards for the Bears there, right? That's no good, right? And sometimes you got to just think, right? Is it just how the player plays that draws these flags? Yes, right? I will say that. But the flags are unforgivable, right? But that first half defense, right, is what was advertised all through training camp, all through OTAs, all through this offseason, right? This defense is stacked. It can lead a team to the Super Bowl given just a decent quarterback, right? And that's just what you... Actually, that's my final point for Trey Lance. Just if Trey Lance is just a okay quarterback, right? At that Jimmy Garoppolo level quarterback, right? Even a little bit higher, right? A little bit higher just for his first full year as a starter. They can get to the playoffs. They can get to the NFC Championship. They can have a winning season with how this defense played, right? And speaking of defense, who was probably one of the stars for the... Wait, actually, one more point about this offensive line, right? It took 3 snaps to get to Justin Fields, right? And then by Samson Ebicon. And then Nick Bosa, he got his first sack as well this game, right? And then Drake Jackson was everywhere. Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, all that. Javon Kinlaw, just stay healthy, right? Drake Jackson got some play. Defensive line got their stuff going this game. But who was probably the best defensive player on this field, mind you? It was probably Talanoa Hufanga. And you know why I say that? Because of how they played him, mind you, right? Will I say is Talanoa currently a good pass defender in the NFL? No, right? But you play him close to that the opposing offensive line, he will tackle everybody. He just has that instinct of tackling, right? And he's going to be tested, mind you. He is going to be tested as a true safety in these games, right? That is just going to be a given, right, in the NFL, a pass-heavy league, right? But guess what? He's going to have help, right? He's going to have Emmanuel Mosley. He's going to have Charvarius Ward. He's going to have Fred Warner. And he's going to have a defensive line that's going to help make passing situations a bit more difficult, right? But yes, his true skills of a pass defender are going to be in question with Talanoa Hufanga. But just see the talent of a tackler, a guy who can probably get sacks, right? He's never going to be at the level of, say, Jamal Adams, right, as a tackler and sack getter, right? But if he's just a bit of that level, right, as a player, then he's going to have a career as a 49er, mind you. Just those skills alone are the reason why Jaquiski Tart is not a 49er. But let's talk about some other things, right? Let's talk a bit more about this offense, right? We're going all around here with this team, right? As my thoughts formulate. Let's talk Deebo Samuel, right? A lot of talk was made about Deebo Samuel, right? About how he wants to be a wide receiver, right? Or at least paid as a wide receiver, mind you, right? And how he didn't want to be a running back anymore and all that stuff, right? Which is totally fair to Deebo Samuel if he ever does think that way, mind you. I will support that, right? But here's the thing about it. This guy can still run. Just look at this chart here from Deebo Samuel here. He can still run. One fumble, I will say that's a bit of a problem, but whether I will asterisk that as a whatever situation, but he can still run. Very interesting stuff there. And then what else is there? All right. Here's the thing, the big thing, right? The big thing that 49ers can be glad about with this Bears. They can say, hey, it was week 1. There is only one team in the NFC West with a win. Teams tied that shouldn't have tied. All of that happened in week 1. So they can say, hey, we had a bad game. This is a staple of our team now. We suck week 1. And if you don't believe me, I'm probably about to post a tweet saying how bad Kyle Shanahan is week 1 as a coach, play caller, all of that. So yeah, that's the biggest thing the 49ers can say about this, right? That is only week 1. Some of these penalties are not going to happen again, even though I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet on some of these being fixed week 2, mind you. With the way the flags were flowing during that Seahawks-Broncos game. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Going to be an interesting season for the 49ers here. Is there a bit of an overreaction going to be coming this week? Yes, and I understand it in a way. It's just a thing of fan bases do. But I just went over all the things the 49ers can be glad about, right? Trey Lance's development. The defense is as advertised. Talanoa Hufanga is developing into a good safety of his type variety, right? Deebo Samuel can still run. And hey, it's just week 1, right? Nothing to overreact. Nothing that big to overreact to. If this was in the middle of the season, oh yes, I am all for the overreaction train, brother. But it isn't. It is in the middle of the season. It's week 1. Stuff still needs to be kinked out as teams go more and more to not playing in the preseason. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. You're going to get another 49ers video from me this week about the Seattle game. I need to do my research into Seattle. That video is probably dropping Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Probably Wednesday, maybe. Or Thursday. I don't know, really. Yet. Something may come up during this week that is going to push that video back to Friday. But yeah, anyway. That's going to be it for me today. This has been Dawson Richard, and I will see you guys next time.